This is Paul. Yes. I just wanted to make sure the conditions, amendment number 3, yes, for quarters for soldiers. No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Yes. Now, of all these locations that you decided that you'd rip off the United States Treasury so as to quarter, as in to house, your illegal structures, can the United States military be quartered there, pooch, without a permit of law? Now, I would say that the Army, in a time of war, yes, as prescribed by law, can actually keep soldiers, yes, in any house that has a permit to be built. Ouch! But for the United States Army to allow for any structure to be built where there is no permitting, could they permit their own soldiers to be there? Poach. Now, there's these laws, yes, that if the United States of America had a war, yes, and there was an enemy throughout the United States, right, and the Army said, well, the law actually allows us to keep soldiers in any structure where the building codes were enforced so that we can fight the enemy and protect the American citizens. Now, I'd like to know every fucking thing you built where the Army would violate the laws if they put their soldiers there. Choo. Now, these laws that you refuse to enforce, yes, because you said, well, this is the way we're going to do things. I'd like to know of all of those in the United States military that could, by law, be housed in any resident's house in a time of war. Yes! How many of them would violate the laws if they put their soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, or National Guard in any structure where you did not have a permit? Now, I'm sure the military has some laws about this. I think they do. Now, I have heard, and I'm not real sure about this, but if I ask the Joint Chiefs of Staff, if I ask the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, how many cities decided they were going to build themselves some underground bunkers to keep their top secret dogs so that they could be in the top secret family, that the military would actually be violating amendment number 3. Now, there's a probability, okay, I could sue the United States military for keeping any soldier, sailor, or any other military personnel in any structure where there's no permit to have it built. Ouch! Oh! Now, I got the feeling that the military was playing super top secret military when they might think, well, why should we be underneath the city when we need to be on top of it? And we had to kind of do this for the last 2 or 3 years because law enforcement wouldn't enforce the laws. But for all the knowledge, the Department of Defense is going to sue your fucking guts out. Now, the Constitution allows for, yes, conditions for the quartering of soldiers. No military personnel shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house, any structure, without the consent of the owner, and the owner would have had to have a permit to build it, wouldn't they? Yes, they would have. Nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Now, these building laws, regulations, statutes that you decided you didn't have to enforce happens to violate the military's right to use your structure in a time of war. Ouch! That's a fucking major fucking